Sabah Kid, Olly, we are in Egypt. Could you introduce yourself to the people watching in Arab?
In Egyptian Arabic.
In Egyptian Arabic.
طبعا. صباح الخير. أنا اسمي أولي. أنا دلوقتي عايشة القاهرة. أنا اتنقلت للقاهرة أوائل شهر سبتمبر. عشان كده أنا موجود هنا من شهرين تقريبا.
No, sound very good. Was that the first thing you said on video in Arabic?
Yes, well, I did a little self-introduction on day one actually.
Okay.
But apart from that, yes, the first thing
I'm very honored to be here and consider in person. Yeah. So how was life here? How was Egypt? You like it here, or is the language going difficult?
I really didn't know what to expect before I came here.
Yeah.
I was living in Qatar before, and you hear a lot of stuff about Egypt on the news, about revolution this, uprising that, and so I really didn't know what to expect. But I've been really pleasantly surprised, and I really like it here. People are great. It's noisy on the street, but that's life here.
That's part of it. Yeah. That's what makes it well, a special place, I guess. An exciting place compared to cities as Cairo.
Yeah, it's got lots of character. So yeah, if you're interested in coming to Egypt, don't hesitate.
Yeah, it's very good host, so I will do it. About learning Arabic. Arabic is the 8th foreign language that you're learning, right?
Well, seventh foreign language.
Seventh foreign language.
Yeah.
Is it more? Do you find it more difficult than the languages that you've learned before?
It's like, I think every language has got its easy points and its hard points.
The grammar is really difficult.
I mean, certainly for me, because I came from a background of learning Romance languages, so French, Italian, Spanish, and so for those languages, learning once you've learned those, learning other European languages are not so difficult. But since then, I've learned a lot of Asian languages and
Arabic, which is very different.
Arabic, yeah. I mean, I don't know how you classify Arabic. I guess it's often classified as an Asian language.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not obviously the same as Japanese or Chinese, but it's got its own challenges. Pronunciation is very different to what we know, coming from a Western linguistic background. The grammar is incredibly complex.
So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that,
well,
with the complex grammar? Because I just saw a grammar book. Well, if I would see so many grammar rules, I would quit learning Arabic. I would give up. It would be.
Yeah.
I would think that I would not be able to handle, to manage to learn all these rules. How do you deal with that? Do you find it?
Honestly, I've taken an approach of kind of purposefully not learning a lot about grammar at the beginning for that exact reason. Yeah. Arabic grammar is so complex that I think if you go down the road of trying to learn and try to produce accurate grammar in a range of situations from the start, you're just never going to get anywhere, and that was quite apparent to me right from the start. So I've really been taking a very practical approach of figuring out the kind of things that I want to learn to use myself here in Cairo, and things like
you want to be able to speak the language, right?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I want to be able to tell the taxi driver where to go. I want to be able to ask for food. I want to be able to
ask the bill, say hello, how are you?
Yeah, chat to my colleagues, my friends, and those kind of things. So I tend to have a kind of phrasebook approach, if you like, at the beginning, where I'm just learning phrases that are useful for me in my own context, and then I kind of deduce the grammar from that. So I kind of start to look for the commonalities and the patterns that emerge, and just try to fill in my understanding that way.
And once you know the phrasebook phrases, you start expanding your vocabulary and trying out new sentences. Well, you have a tutor as well, right? With your Arabic teacher.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not just a phrasebook approach, as in learning dozens of phrases. It's not quite like that, but I do purposefully not worry that much about grammar. But having said that, now that I'm at the kind of 3-month stage, I am now starting to get more curious about grammar, because I'm noticing that it's limiting my ability to express myself.
Yeah. So once you arrive at that point, maybe that is a good moment to start learning grammar.
That's,
Only when you find out that you really need it.
That's certainly been my experience. I mean, it's not that you shouldn't learn grammar at the beginning, but I think when you're starting a new language, momentum is so important, and you've got to figure out what's going to get you results the quickest. And in the case of Arabic, because the grammar is so complex, I decided not to kind of study grammar in that sense.
How often do you practice your speaking?
Well, I speak every day to a certain extent. I mean, it may be just a question of telling a taxi driver where to go and then ordering a cappuccino at lunch or something. But in terms of like focused practice, I try to have certainly three, if I can, 4 sessions a week, where I'll sit down with my tutor and speak only in Arabic for an hour.
I see. I was wondering, because I've learned a few languages before myself, and I find it always very useful that if I go to a country that I get local friends in the language, because then feeling is involved, emotions are involved, and people tend to remember words better when emotions are involved. How is it here in Egypt? Is it easy to find friends? Is it easy to connect to the local people, or is it easy to adapt in the society here? Because it's 2 different cultures, right? We are from a Western country, this is an Arab country, other religion, and lots of other traditions.
Sure.
How do you...
I think within your question there's a few different things. I mean, is it easy to fit in and become like a local?
Yeah.
I'd say no, because you do have very different cultures and levels of all different kinds of things.
Yeah.
It's not. I think in many different countries, it is quite difficult to.
Like in Japan, for example.
Yeah, it's very difficult to be accepted into a local community.
Yeah.
But that's not to say you can't live a very fulfilling life and have a really good time here.
Yeah.
So the question is, how easy is it to speak to people and to have conversations and interact with people? It's the easiest place in the world so far that I've been to. Yeah, I mean, people just love talking.
Yeah.
If you try and speak
open to foreigners.
Yeah, people love the fact that foreigners are here, especially since the revolution.
Yeah.
They love the fact that people are still coming. So if you make a little bit of effort,
they appreciate it very much.
like you saw me, like in the shop last night around the corner. You start saying a couple of words in Arabic, and they love it. They come alive and they
smiling all the time, teaching me words. That was I can imagine that this is a really good place to practice your language. I can, for example, if I will go to Paris, I'm learning French, and they see that I have difficulties with French, they might not be very happy with me.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same with Dutch.
Lots of places are not, and or maybe they're very used to having foreigners around, and it's just normal for them. But people here are incredibly warm. They're very welcoming. They love to talk. It's a great language learning environment.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that sounds really good. Do you maybe have any advice for people learning Arabic now, or who want to learn Arabic? Do you have any advice for them? What should they do? What should they avoid?
Arabic's a complex and challenging language because Arabic itself is so vast. You've got lots of different forms of Arabic, and you've also got lots of different dialects. And certainly in my experience, I tried to learn modern standard Arabic before, in the place that I was living before, and it just didn't make any sense to me because it's not a spoken language. And yet I know that lots of people do learn modern standard Arabic.
So what do you think of that? Because that's the language that no one speaks, right? That's only
you'll never actually speak that to someone in day-to-day life. So my advice would really be, I think, try to think carefully about why you're learning, what your rationale, your motivation for learning is. Especially if you have a particular connection to a particular country or particular friends, and then learn that dialect specifically. Because that's what you're going to speak, that's what you're going to need. So I'd say that goes for any language in a way, like just be very clear why you're learning it, but especially
why
with
you're
Arabic.
learning and what do you want to learn? Do you want to read the script, or do you want to learn how to speak the language? Maybe that.
Yeah, and
if you want to learn how to speak, you should practice more, or you should do more speaking practice, right?
Yeah, I mean, having said that, with Arabic, the script is quite easy to learn, so I would certainly say learn the script from the start.
Yeah.
You've got another bunch of complications there, because Egyptian Arabic, for example, is a spoken dialect. You don't write it down. I mean, you can do, but typically you don't. You will speak Egyptian Arabic, and then what you'll write is more than standard Arabic. Just like in Cantonese, I mean, we both speak Cantonese. You speak Cantonese and you write Chinese. So it's a really difficult language and lots of peripheral challenges. So
it's very rewarding to learn, especially.
But it is, and then especially I really encourage people to visit the country of the dialect that they're learning, because I found just having a little bit of interaction with people here, just the kind of human warmth that you feel from people is incredibly motivating and inspiring. So yeah, I mean the advice really goes for any language, but especially with Arabic. I think try to make it a part of your life in some way, and spend time with the people and with the culture, because Arabic's a very interactive spoken language.
Okay, well, that might be some good advice for the ones watching now. Masalam, that's what we say here, right?
Yeah.
Masalam.
Masalam.